Fjordur is undoubtedly an adventure unlike any other ARK map before it, and with so much to wonder and gaze at as you travel through the map, there's a wonder why it feels so rich with exploration. With its Nordic setting comes a theme that lends itself well to a variety of popular culture references, and whilst it drops the odd nod to the Viking TV series and Ice Age to name a few, its biggest influence is obviously the widely acclaimed Lord of the Rings trilogy, with scenes straight out of the Hobbit and tale you've seen before. So what references are there? You're right kids, it's Raasclark and welcome to a list of Lord of the Rings references for Fjordur. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share around and let's get into it. So in number 8, the most obvious and famous perhaps is the Forberg, one of the most central and favourite base locations on the map. And it's blatant to see for anyone that knows even a little Lord of the Rings that the iconic drawn battle within the second film between man, elf, one dwarf and an orc army at the fortress known as Helm's Deep, a build that's been recreated time and time again for years, is certainly the influence here. Interestingly tackled in a smaller iteration by the same creator on his previous map Valguero, this latest iteration, which even then saw a complete overhaul since its mod version, paves way for a high-rise ramp to its fortified walls leading to its inner grounds and its cave-built haven, with even further nods to the films where shelter is taken before a last stand. Set in a likewise valley, begs a wonder if Gandalf could ever come to save the day once again. In at number 7, and an easy reference to overlook, passing over to the Grand Bridge and stronghold of Skadifjord, you'll find a notably conveniently placed tree within the middle of the grounds. For any fan of the series, this is undoubtedly a reference to the White Tree of Gondor, the king blooming seedling overlooking the grand city of Minas Tirith, a link to the elves and the two trees of Valinor, to be seen in the coming Amazon Prime spin-off. And I thought, could there be a way to bloom this once again? In at number 6, and heading over to Belheimer and its central immune artifact cave, lies another glaringly obvious reference. Deep into the volcano to a cliff mound surrounded by burning hot lava, takes only a quick glance of the trilogy's ending to know this to be Mount Doom, in fact being called the Mount Doom Caverns, where we saw Isildur give in and Frodo finish his journey, with good old Samwise casting the One Ring into the fires along with Gollum to end Sauron's reign and bring peace for an age. In at number 5, and speaking of Gollum, heading to the bug-ridden bear caverns of the Strong artifact north of the Redwoods, will find not only a wondrous nod to the original 3 Guardians of Ark, but deeper within the cave near the Sarco spawns you'll find a skeleton seemingly left to perish with a familiar ring beside it, being a reference to indeed the one true ring in the trilogy, and I guess the remains being Gollum left hungry for too long, or perhaps another survivor corrupted by Sauron and left to rot in the dark depths. In at number 4, and heading to the southern island of Vardiland, we'll discover perhaps the most epic reference to Lord of the Rings, with the main entrance at 8321 leading to the mines of Vjerheim, or to any dwarven fan, Moria, as the entrance opens out to the greatest underground city of Middle-earth, the Grand Halls of Moria, setting stage for the first film's fellowship as they encounter Balin's tomb, again recreated here in ARK, and perhaps one of the most iconic fights in the film as goblins crowd, cave trolls menace and evil awakes, noting an actual mine opposite filled with more metal than you could ever need, and where the dwarves delved too deeply, taking us to the rear of the cave, finding the bridge of Kazadoom, a narrow ancient defence against any enemy that shall not pass. In at number 3, and heading to the north of Vanaland, we'll find perhaps the greatest entrance to any cave in the game, warded by statues of the past, surrounded by a scenic cliffside of waterfalls and approaching drive, will welcome you to the shimmering halls via a decorated long bridge splitting off to either a ominous dwarven anvil or a timeless giant room, allowing just enough light to find a once occupied city. Anyone familiar with the trilogy's successor or predecessor, if you read the books, will undoubtedly recall Erebor, the dwarven realm featured in The Hobbit, boasting a similar themed entrance to its lonely mountain, wealth lurking below its beauty, and naturally anvils to forge weapons for the gods. In at number 2, and a seeming reach, but later confirmed by Fjordur creator Nakatus, anyone familiar to the Fellowship and their travels may take a look at the new creature introduced with the map, the much loved Andrew Sarkis, and note some similarities to a familiar creature from the books. Boasting the same ferocious speed and aggressive attacks are the wargs of Isengard. Perhaps more canine-like than the creatures found in ARK, it's hard to ignore the similarities, and especially so when confirmed to be the influence for the map's creator and, unsurprisingly, his favourite creature. And finally, in at number 1, and being my favourite on the list, one many may not even see for themselves unless prepared to grind and face one of the more difficult bosses in the game. The dragon returns to Fjordur once again with a completely new arena and a huge reference to the Lord of the Rings finale, the Black Gates of Mordor. Nodding to the final stand between man and orc as an overwhelming fate is met and odds stacked against, meeting your fight to end the last battle of Middle-earth's Third Age. If any fan joins this fight, you'll be hard pressed to hear for Frodo, as you battle to win in arguably one of the best boss arenas, to end Sauron's reign and complete your Lord of the Rings references. Thanks all for tuning in. If you enjoyed it or think I've missed any other references, comment below, let me know. My name's Raasclark, don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and as always, peace out.